The debate around cost and value has been raging in the Destiny 2 community recently since the announcement that the Year 5 dungeons are only going to be accessible for those who purchase the Witch Queen Deluxe Edition. Well, today I'm going to have a look at Destiny 2, the base game, plus all the expansions, the DLCs and the seasons, and have a look at the cost of each to see how much the cost has risen over the years, plus give each year a value rating. Well, if you're new around here or find this useful, don't forget to hit that subscribe button down below for all the latest Destiny 2 content, and turn on notifications by hitting that bell. And roughly 98% of viewers who watch This Week in Video Games aren't subscribed, so subscribe today and never miss an update. But before we get into the cost, let's have a look at the conversation that sparked all of this, and it's the news that the Witch Queen dungeons are only going to be available to those who buy the deluxe version of the Witch Queen. So at the moment that costs $79.99 in dollars, and it's the first time the dungeons have been put behind a specific version of the game. So I'm really keen to get your thoughts on what you think about the dungeons being put behind the deluxe version, and also what you think about the value of Destiny 2 overall. Now, do you think it's a reasonable deal? Is it too cheap or is it too expensive? Well, let me know down in the comments. I'd love to hear what you think. Well, let's dive into Destiny 2 and check out how much it's cost over the years. So we're going to start out at the very beginning, back in 2017, with Destiny 2 Year 1. So Destiny 2, the base game, that came out on the 6th of September 2017, and that cost $59.99 in dollars. And there you had the Red War campaign, you had the EDZ, Nessus, Titan, IO locations. We also had Strikes, Nightfall's Crucible, Trials of the Nine, and also the Leviathan raid. Well, next up we had the Curse of Osiris DLC. That one came out on December the 5th, 2017, and that one was $16.99. For that we had the DLC campaign, Mercury, the Infinite Forest, and we also had a raid lair, that was the Eater of Worlds. Then finally for Year 1 we got the Warmind DLC, that came out on May the 8th, 2018, and that was $19.99. And again we had a DLC campaign, we had the Mars location that was added. So we had the Escalation Protocol, that was the multiplayer PvE mode found on Mars, and we also had another raid lair added to the Leviathan, and that was the Spire of Stars. So in total for Year 1, the cost is $96.97. So I think Year 1 will be remembered with mixed feelings from the Destiny community. So Bungie dramatically changed the game to focus on a more casual audience, with the removal of random weapon rolls, and also moving from 6v6 to 4v4 in PvP, plus adding double primary weapons. So many of the features that we had at the end of Destiny 1 had been removed, and players were leaving the game in droves. On the plus side, the Red War campaign was really good, but the follow-up Curse of Osiris DLC was widely panned. Now, things did get a little bit better with the introduction of the Warmind DLC, and especially Escalation Protocol. That felt like a big improvement. So also in Year 1, Destiny was made available for the first time on PC, so frame rates and FOV were incredible, making it feel like a very different experience from that on console. However, communities and clans were broken up and distributed across more platforms than ever before. So overall, I'm going to give this a value rating of C, but let me know down in the comments if you agree. Well, next up we've got Destiny 2 Year 2. So here we had the Forsaken DLC. That came out on the 4th of September 2018, and that was $39.99. And for that, we got the Tangled Shore and the Dreaming City locations added to the game. Gambit, the new PvE and PvP game mode, was introduced. We got the Last Wish raid, arguably one of the best raids ever. We got the Shattered Throne dungeon, and sadly, Trials of the Nine was removed. So then we had the Seasons pack, and that was $34.99, and that included 3 seasons. So that was Season of the Forge, Season of the Drifter, and Season of Opulence. So Season of the Forge, otherwise known as the Black Armory, we had the Forge's activity, the Scourge of the Past raid, and we had loads of exotics as well. So we had Anarchy, Isnagi's Burden, Jotun, Le Monarch, The Last Word, and also we had Thorn added too. Next up we had Season of the Drifter, that was Joker's Wild. So there we had Gambit Prime, The Reckoning, and also we had some pinnacle weapons including the Recluse, Oxygen SR3, and 21% Delirium. And finally we had Season of Opulence, so that included the Menagerie, the Crown of Sorrow raid, and pinnacle weapons including Revoker, Wendigo, and also Hush. So looking at the total cost for Year 2 and adding everything up, that comes to a total of $74.98. And Year 2 was arguably the best year of Destiny 2 we've ever had, and we had a fantastic campaign with the loss of Cade 6, and also the developments with Aldrin and the Dreaming City. You got the Last Wish raid, that was one of the best ever, plus the introduction of seasonal content. So So we had 4 seasons in total, although Season of the Outlaw was essentially the Forsaken DLC, which followed with the Season of the Forge, Drifter and then Opulence. So Bungie also reintroduced random rolls on weapons, making the chase for weapons much more viable and much more like Destiny 1. Well, actually much of Year 2 was spent undoing the changes from going from Destiny 1 to Destiny 2, including faster gameplay and also 6v6 in Crucible. Well, at the time, Bungie was bolstered by High Moon and Vicarious Vision Studios, supported by Activision, and that meant their content output was far greater than what we see today. So we had the introduction of the Last Wish raid, which went down as one of the best in history, plus 2 more raids later in the year with the Scourge of the Past and the Crown of Sorrow. So exotic weapons were some of the best we've ever seen: Isnagi's Burden, Anarchy, Jotun, Le Monarch, to name a few, plus the Return of the Last Word, Thorn, and also in the original Forsaken campaign, we had the Ace of Spades. So also a brand new game mode was introduced with Gambit, and later in the year we had Gambit Prime and The Reckoning as part of Season of the Drifter. We also had new locations introduced on the Tangled Shore and the Dreaming City, with the Dreaming City arguably being one of the best destinations we've seen in the Destiny franchise. All that plus the secret mission for Whisper of the Worm, and then later on 0 Hour for Outbreak Perfected. And overall, I'm going to give this a value rating of A+. I think this is the best we've ever seen it in Destiny 2, and hopefully we can get back to this high bar in the future. Well, next up we got Destiny 2 Year 3, and this is the Shadowkeep DLC, and this one costs $34.99. So we had the Moon location added, the Garden of Salvation raid, the Altars of Sorrow activity, the Pit of Heresy dungeon. So we had the Season Pass mechanic introduced, including the free and the premium track. The seasonal artifacts were introduced, and also we had the Armour 2.0 update, and they included all the mods for our armour. We had the interconnecting story season over season, and the base game was made free to play, including some of the strikes, Crucible, Gambit, and also some of the destinations too. So then we had the Seasons pack, that was about $30 or $10 each. So we had Season of Undying, Season of Dawn, Season of the Worthy, Season of Arrivals. I do believe that Season of Undying was included in the original Shadowkeep. So looking at the seasons individually, we've got Season of Undying, so there we had the Vex Offensive. That was a new 6-player match-made activity. We had Season of Dawn, so we had the Sundial activity. We had Saint 14 returning via story missions. We also had the Corridors of Time and the Bastion exotic quest, including a huge and one of the best community puzzles ever. Then we had Season of the Worthy, so that included the Seraph Towers public events. So we had the Warmind Cell mods introduced, and also Trials of Osiris returned. Then we had Season of Arrivals, so we had the weekly story missions, the Contact public event, the Prophecy dungeon, Umbral Engrams, and we also had that massive live event at the end of Shadowkeep. So in total, for Shadowkeep, it's $64.99 if you include all the seasons, and Destiny 2 Year 3 was the first year that they operated without Activision, and therefore in comparison to Forsaken, the content offering did seem a little bit less. However, one thing changed in Year 3, and that was the interconnecting story season over season, with the whole year making sense from a story point of view. Destiny 2 was made free to play and it was brought to Steam for the first time, which definitely helped the player population on PC, although communities were still fragmented from the original Destiny 2 launch, as they were still unable to play together across different platforms. Well, Armour was given a huge overhaul, and now we had Armour mods making build crafting much more viable, and over time more powerful mods were introduced, including Warmind Cell mods in Season of the Worthy. Well, 2 dungeons were introduced with the Pit of Heresy, and then another in Season of Arrivals, and that one was made free for all players, and that included the Prophecy dungeon. And Prophecy was arguably the best dungeon to date, plus players were taking on these challenges in fire teams, and also solo as well. Well, then Bungie had to push the release of their next DLC back to November 2020 due to COVID having an impact on development, and that meant a 2-month delay and an extended Season of Arrivals. And overall, I'm going to give a value rating of B- to Shadowkeep, but let me know down in the comments what you think. Well, next up we got Destiny 2 Year 4, and this is the Beyond Light DLC, and this one costs $39.99. So for this we had Europa, the new location, and the Cosmodrome returns from Destiny 1. We had a new campaign, we had a new Darkness subclass, and that was Stasis, and that included the Aspects and the Fragments. We got the Deepstone Crypt raid, and then we get to all the stuff that was removed, so Io, Titan, Mars, Mercury, the Farm, the Leviathan, that was removed. Gambit Prime, Crucible Maps, The Reckoning, Menagerie, Tribute Hall, Escalation Protocol, Forges, 0 Hour, the Whisper Mission, Niobe Labs, Strikes, and also Vendors as well. And And then there was the campaign, so the Red War, Curse of Osiris, Warmind campaign, Season of the Forge, Season of the Drifter, and also Season of Opulence. That was all removed. Also the raids as well, so the Leviathan, Eater of Worlds, Spire of Stars, Scourge of the Past, and the Crown of Sorrows, all removed. And also various exotic quests, and they got replaced with the Monuments to Lost Light in the Tower. And then this is a big one, so weapon sunsetting came in. Remember that one? So we couldn't infuse our weapons above the existing power cap, which meant we couldn't use old weapons like the Recluse or Evoker or other weapons too. In terms of things that were added, the helm was introduced, and also in the background as well, the whole engine for the game was overhauled. So the base game was $39.99, but if you wanted to include the seasons as well, you could pick that up for $69.99, and that included Season of the Hunt, Season of the Chosen, Season of the Splicer, and also Season of the Lost. So in Season of the Hunt, we had Wrathborn Hunts and Hawkmoon returned. In Season of the Chosen, we got Battlegrounds, a new strike that was Proving Grounds, the Umbral Engrams and Prismatic Recaster returned, and also we had the returning Destiny 1 Cosmodrome Strikes, and Gambit and Crucible vendor progression was improved. And also we had a really good piece of content added, and that was the Presage Exotic Mission. So in Season of the Splicer, we had the Override activity, we had the Expunge missions, the Vault of Glass raid returned, and also Transmog or Armor Synthesis that was introduced into the game. That brings us up to date with Season of the Lost, so we've got the Astro Alignment activity, the Shattered Realm weekly mission, and also a big one, crossplay, was introduced, so communities could come together again across all the platforms including Xbox, PC, PlayStation, and also Google Stadia too. So we've also got the optional 30th anniversary pack, and that is $24.99 standalone, so that hasn't happened yet, that is going to happen in December, but with that we're going to get a new dungeon. The Galahorn is returning, plus its Catalyst and Ornament. We've got new weapons inspired by Bungie's past. We've got the Thorn Armor set, Bungie Streetwear, Marathon Unique Helmet Ornament set. We've got the exotic Sparrows and Ship, and also emblems, shaders, emotes, and loads more too. So in total then, if you look at Beyond Light plus the seasons, that was $69.99, although if you want to include the 30th anniversary, that's going to set you back $94.98. Well, Beyond Light was an expansion of major change for Destiny 2 with many activities, planets and moons, crucible maps, exotic missions, and strikes all removed from the game. You know, the game had become too big and difficult to manage for Bungie, and little bugs were creeping out here, there, and everywhere, you know. And as well as streamlining much of the content, a new engine was introduced behind the scenes, which set the stage for the game to be played on a new generation of consoles in the PS5 and the Xbox Series S and X. And for the first time, console players could get a similar experience to PC on console from a visual and gameplay point of view. So narrative and story were benefiting from major investment, and apart from Season of the Hunt, seasons have gone from strength to strength, with the weekly story being one of the major things that people tune into each week. Well, Stasis was a massive talking point from the community, with many players complaining it was too strong in PvP, leading to lots of really big streamers leaving the game. Stasis was nerfed hard and then slightly buffed again, but overall the sandbox feels like it's in a reasonable place at the moment, and maybe the best place it's ever been. So the light subclasses also got a decent sized balance patch too, so thank you to Bungie for bringing that forward. And also the player population recovered really well throughout Beyond Light, bolstered by crossplay introduced in Season of the Lost, allowing players from Xbox, PlayStation, PC and Stadia to all play together. So we had activities and destinations taken away, but we also had content come out of the Destiny Content Vault, including the Cosmodrome, 2 Destiny 1 Strike, and also the Vault of Glass, the original Destiny 1 raid, complete with most of the weapons. And also Vex Myth class came back, was very underwhelming for a short time, until it was buffed to be really overpowered, and now it's going to be nerfed again. So Trials of Osiris also got a rework, and the team has been experimenting with different variations of the Flawless Pool, matchmaking and also reward structure as well. And that has led to an early surge in popularity, although over the weeks that seems to have levelled off. So overall, I'm going to give Beyond Light a value rating of B+. So we're not finished yet with Beyond Light, but so far I've really enjoyed it, especially the story. It has gone from strength to strength, and I do think the sandbox is really well balanced, and also Bungie appear to be investing in PvP, so I think many aspects of the game are in a really good place. Well, let's look ahead slightly now to the Witch Queen and Destiny 2 Year 5. So we've got the Witch Queen DLC, that is $39.99, and for that you're going to get a new campaign, Weapon Crafting, a new 6-player activity. We've got the new weapon type, that is a glaive, we've got a new raid, and we've got a new location, that is Savathun's Throne World. So then we've got the Witch Queen Deluxe Edition, and that comes with the seasons, and that is $79.99. So for that, you're going to get all of the above, the seasons content, you can get the exotic SMG, you've got 2 dungeons, and also an exotic Sparrow. And then you can buy a Witch Queen Deluxe version, so you get the seasons plus the 30th anniversary, and that is going to come in at $99.99. I'm not going to go over that again because I went through the 30th anniversary version earlier. So given the Witch Queen isn't out yet, we don't really know the value at the moment. However, there has been some recent talk about the dungeons going behind the deluxe version, which looks to be a new move from Bungie. I'm guessing the reason for this is because Bungie wants us Destiny fans to purchase the deluxe edition, giving them more revenue, and also crucially, it allows them to plan better, knowing where to direct resources, and they can pump more money into certain parts of the game, including investing in upcoming expansions like Lightfall and also the Final Shape. They've talked about investing in regular content drops with regular raids and dungeons, and also we've got the Crucible revamp coming too. So the overall value rating is a big question mark at the moment, only time will tell. So if you want all that content, it's going to be $79.99, or if you want the 30th anniversary too, you can get a deal with that being $99.99 overall. And if you do decide to get that version, that is going to save you $5 in the long run. So looking at all the years of Destiny 2 side by side, we've got this picture. So in year 1, with Destiny 2, the base game, that's $96.97. Year 2 with Forsaken, that's $74.98. Year 3 with Shadowkeep, that's $64.99. Year 4 with Beyond Light, that is $69.99. And then we got Year 5, that is the Witch Queen, and that is $79.99. I have pulled out the 30th Anniversary Edition at $24.99, just because you can decide to purchase it in Year 4 or in Year 5. And in terms of the analysis, it does make it a little bit easier if you pull it out individually. So I have separated out the 30th Anniversary, given it's an add-on. You can buy it if you want, but I don't think it's going to be core to the development of Destiny 2. Now, from what I can see, the dungeon included is going to be a bit of a meme loot dungeon. You've got the Galahorn, that is a major incentive to buy, as I imagine this plus the Catalyst is going to be really powerful in the game. But I don't think it's going to be integral to the story development of the main Light versus Dark saga. So looking at the graph, the cost is on an upward trend for all content. However, Witch Queen looks to be on par with Forsaken, which is arguably the best content expansion we've ever had. Now, that does come with a caveat though. Bungie back then had support from 2 other major studios, with High Moon and also Vicarious Visions, courtesy of their partnership with Activision. Now, looking at my playtime, I've got about 876 hours in Destiny 2 over the 4 years, which is about 219 hours per year. And looking at the total cost so far, I think that's about $306.93, and that equates to about $76.73 per year. I think in terms of entertainment value, that is pretty good. For example, for a comparison, Netflix costs about $156 a year, and I probably think I play Destiny more than I watch Netflix. So just in terms of comparison, I think Destiny 2 is about half the price of a Netflix subscription. I definitely think I get more value out of Destiny than I do of Netflix. So the main issue I see with the cost of Destiny at the moment is Bungie clarifying how much things cost and what is included. The dungeon debate has raged over the last few weeks. Personally, I don't really mind paying developers for great content, although saying that, I'm also in the very fortunate position that I've got the money to buy the game, the DLCs and the seasons. So looking at the stats for Destiny's cost, yes, it's going up, but I also think the quality of what they're producing is going up, and the story content is the best it's ever been. PvP and the core playlist could certainly do with some investment, but I think Bungie's laid out their plans, and I'm confident in the content we've got coming up in the Witch Queen and also beyond. Well, let me know down in the comments what you think of the cost breakdown for Destiny 2, and also let me know what you think about the dungeon debate. Well, that is it for this look at how much Destiny 2 costs, and as always, thank you so much for watching. For more Destiny 2 content like this, hit that subscribe button down below and subscribe to This Week in Video Games. If you want to join the community, check out the Discord link in the description, or you can follow me on Twitter at TWIVGPodcast. If you enjoyed this video and found it useful, liking and sharing the video would really help me out. Otherwise, check out the other videos on the channel. Thanks again. I'll see you soon.